Before we begin, please subscribe because the bedtime drink I reveal tonight could quietly protect your kidneys for years. What I'm about to tell you is going to make you question every single thing you've been drinking after dinner. And when I reveal the one bedtime drink that kidney specialists trust most, you may realize that the drink sitting on your nightstand right now is either helping your kidneys or slowly making their job harder. I'm Dr. Thomas Richard, and tonight, I need to tell you something that most seniors never hear until their lab work starts going in the wrong direction. Your kidneys are two silent workers that almost never complain in the early stages. That's what makes this so dangerous, because they can be under strain for years before you feel anything dramatic. No fireworks, no alarm bells, no pain that forces you to pay attention. Just subtle signs, a little swelling in the ankles, a little more fatigue, more trips to the bathroom at night, maybe slightly higher blood pressure, maybe you wake up dry, thirsty, foggy, and you assume that's just aging. But sometimes it isn't aging. Sometimes it's what you're doing every evening without realizing it. And here is what frightens me most, because I see this pattern over and over again. Seniors are trying to do the right thing. They're drinking things they believe are healthy. Cranberry drinks, herbal detox teas, electrolyte beverages, a relaxing glass of wine, even huge amounts of water right before bed because someone told them hydration fixes everything. They are not being careless, they are being misled. And when your kidneys are in your 70s or 80s, the margin for error is smaller than it used to be. What seemed harmless at 50 can become a nightly burden at 75. Let me tell you about Eleanor first, because her story reveals the mistake that starts this whole conversation. Eleanor was 74, widowed, careful, disciplined, the kind of woman who read every health article she could find. She'd heard that as you age, dehydration becomes dangerous, so she made a rule for herself. Every night before bed, she drank a giant glass of water, not a small one, a huge one. She was proud of it, thought she was protecting her kidneys, thought she was doing exactly what a good patient should do, and for a while she felt virtuous every time she finished it. But then the nights changed, and this is where the trap appeared. Eleanor started waking up 3, sometimes 4 times a night to urinate. Each time, her sleep broke apart a little more. The next morning, she felt exhausted, shaky, irritable. Her blood pressure crept higher. She craved more coffee just to function. She was still convinced the bedtime water was helping her kidneys, so she doubled down. More water, more bathroom trips, less sleep, more strain on her body, and nobody had explained the difference between healthy hydration and badly timed hydration. Those are not the same thing, not even close. That's the first truth you need to understand tonight. Kidney health is not just about what you drink, it's also about when you drink it, how much you drink, and what your own kidneys can actually handle. A healthy drink in the wrong amount at the wrong time can create a problem. And a simple drink taken the right way can be far more powerful than all the expensive powders, miracle tonics, and sleepy time concoctions sold to seniors every day. So before I reveal the best bedtime drink, I need to walk you through the nighttime beverages that quietly sabotage kidney health. Let's start with the one that fools the most people, because it sounds pure, natural, and healing. Herbal detox tea. You've seen the labels. Cleanse. Flush toxins. Repair overnight. Wake up renewed. It sounds wonderful. It sounds medical. It sounds like your kidneys are going to spend the night getting a spa treatment. But here's the reality. Your kidneys already detox your body. That is their job. They do not need a mysterious bedtime tea to teach them how. And many of those products contain herbal blends, stimulants, laxative ingredients, or diuretic compounds that can do the exact opposite of what you want. Let me tell you about Raymond, 79 from New Jersey, because his story explains this perfectly. Raymond began drinking a detox tea every night because he wanted to flush out waste. That was the phrase on the box, and he trusted it. Within 2 weeks, he was waking up parched, lightheaded, and urinating more than usual. He thought that meant the tea was working. That's the tragedy. He interpreted stress as healing. But what was really happening was dehydration. His body was losing more fluid overnight, his sleep was getting chopped up, and he felt weaker every morning. The kidneys do not like being pushed back and forth between fluid overload and dehydration. They like balance. And that word, balance, is more important than most people realize. Seniors often think kidney protection means aggressively forcing fluids. It doesn't. The kidneys need enough water to help remove waste and keep blood flowing properly, yes, but they do not benefit from fads, extremes, or magical nighttime cleanses. In fact, if you already have chronic kidney disease, advanced kidney problems, or you've been told to limit fluids, some of these so-called health drinks can become dangerous very quickly. Swelling, shortness of breath, rising blood pressure, overnight weight gain, those are not signs of healing. Those are warning signs. Now let's talk about the second bedtime trap. And this one is hiding in refrigerators all over America. Sugary drinks that wear a healthy disguise. Sweetened cranberry cocktails, bottled juices, flavored waters with added sugar, nighttime immune drinks. Even that little glass of sweet tea some people sip after dinner because it feels comforting. Here's the problem. High sugar drinks don't just affect your waistline. Over time, they can contribute to blood sugar problems, blood pressure problems, and metabolic stress, the very conditions that damage kidneys slowly and relentlessly. And the tragedy is that people often choose these drinks precisely because they think they're gentle. Martha, 72, hailed from Alaska, believed cranberry juice was always kidney-friendly. She'd heard for years that cranberries were good for the urinary tract, so every night, she poured herself a tall glass of cranberry drink before bed. Not pure, unsweetened cranberry juice in a tiny amount. A big sweetened bottle from the supermarket. She loved the taste. She loved the color. She loved the feeling that she was protecting herself. But her fasting sugar started creeping up, her blood pressure became harder to control, and she was waking twice a night to urinate. She was drinking something marketed as wellness while her body was quietly paying the price. And this is where marketing becomes more dangerous than disease sometimes, because marketing speaks in feelings, not physiology. Natural, immune support, hydration, antioxidants. Those words are designed to lower your guard, but your kidneys do not read labels. They respond to what is actually in the drink. Sugar, sodium, additives, acids, caffeine, alcohol, herbal compounds. Your kidneys are practical organs. They deal in chemistry. They do not care that a bottle is painted green and decorated with leaves. If the contents make blood pressure worse or blood sugar less stable, your kidneys will feel it whether the label sounds healthy or not. Which brings us to the third bedtime mistake. And this one is especially common among seniors who want to relax in the evening. Alcohol, a glass of wine, a little whiskey, a nightcap because it helps you unwind. Now let me be very careful here. I'm not giving you a moral lecture, I'm giving you a kidney lecture. Alcohol can dehydrate you, it can disrupt sleep, it can increase nighttime urination, it can push blood pressure in the wrong direction over time, and for someone already dealing with kidney strain, medications, diabetes, or heart issues, that seemingly innocent bedtime drink may be creating far more work for the body than you realize. Harold was 81 from Ohio, proud, independent, and absolutely convinced that his nightly bourbon was medicine. "It helps me sleep, Doc," he told me. I've been doing it for years." But what he called sleep was not true restorative sleep. He was falling asleep faster, yes, but waking up dry-mouthed at 2 a.m., using the bathroom, then lying awake restless for an hour. His mornings felt heavy, his blood pressure was stubborn, his ankles were puffier by evening. And because the bourbon was part of his emotional routine, he never connected it to the problem. The drink that calmed him at 9 p.m. was punishing him by midnight. Now we need to talk about caffeine, because this is one of the sneakiest bedtime kidney mistakes of all. People think only coffee counts. Wrong. It can be late coffee, strong tea, energy drinks, some flavored waters, some pain relief beverages, and a surprising number of healthy evening drinks that promise energy, focus, or cleansing. Caffeine can irritate the bladder, increase the urge to urinate, and make nighttime bathroom trips more likely. And if you're waking repeatedly through the night, your body loses one of the most important kidney protective tools it has: good sleep that supports healthier blood pressure and better overall metabolic control. Let me tell you about Gloria. Came from California, 76. Every evening after dinner, She made herself a large mug of green tea because she'd heard tea was full of antioxidants, and she wasn't wrong. That's what makes this tricky. A thing can have one benefit and still be the wrong choice at the wrong time. Gloria's problem wasn't that tea is evil. Her problem was timing. She drank it at 8:30 p.m., then wondered why she was awake at midnight, in the bathroom at 2 o'clock, and tired by 6 a.m. The drink seemed sophisticated and health-conscious, but for her nighttime bladder and sleep pattern, it was working against her. And sleep matters far more for kidney health than most people understand. When sleep is fragmented night after night, everything drifts in the wrong direction. Blood pressure becomes harder to control. Stress hormones rise. Morning fatigue encourages more caffeine and more sugary shortcuts. Less energy means less movement during the day. Appetite becomes harder to regulate. In other words, a bad bedtime drink can trigger a cascade, and that cascade may not scream kidney problem at first. It may look like ordinary aging, but ordinary aging is often where real pathology likes to hide. Now, before I reveal the best drink, I need to show you the mistake that looks healthy but can quietly become excessive. Electrolyte drinks and sports beverages. I know why seniors reach for them. They're marketed as hydration heroes. They promise balance, minerals, energy, replacement. And after a certain age, people worry about dehydration, cramps, dizziness, and weakness, so these drinks feel reassuring. But many of them are loaded with sugar, sodium, or additives your kidneys may not appreciate, especially if you don't actually need electrolyte replacement. A marathon runner in July is not the same as a retired adult sitting in a recliner at 9 p.m. George, 78, from Chicago, started drinking a bottled electrolyte beverage every night because he thought plain water was too weak. His granddaughter bought it for him, said it was more advanced than water, and the label was full of science words. But George was not losing buckets of sweat every evening. He was watching television. Over time, his blood pressure became more difficult to manage, and he was retaining more fluid in his legs by the end of the day. He thought the drink was supporting his body. In truth, it was adding things his body didn't need while disguising itself as hydration. This is the problem with modern health culture. It has convinced people that simple is inferior. If a drink doesn't sparkle, glow, promise, energize, cleanse, fortify, or contain 11 impossible ingredients, people think it can't be powerful. But the kidneys love simple. They love predictability. They love not being forced to interpret a chemistry experiment at bedtime. They love stable blood flow, stable pressure, and adequate, but not reckless, hydration. So when you hear me reveal the best bedtime drink in a moment, some of you are going to think, that's too simple. And that exact thought is why so many people miss it. But we're not there yet because there's one more trap I have to expose first. And this one may be the most common of all: drinking too much water too close to sleep. Not tea, not juice, not cola, just too much plain water at the wrong hour. This is where people get confused because water really is the most kidney-friendly drink for most people. That part is true, but timing still matters. If you flood your system right before bed, especially in older age, you may set yourself up for repeated nighttime urination, broken sleep, increased fall risk, and a miserable next day. And if you think those nighttime bathroom trips are just annoying, I need you to think bigger. Every time an older adult wakes suddenly in the dark, walks half asleep to the bathroom, and turns quickly, there is risk. Risk of dizziness, risk of tripping, risk of falling, risk of confusion, risk of that frightening moment where you can't remember whether you already took your pills because your whole night is fractured. Kidney health does not exist in isolation. It lives inside a real human body that also has balance issues, blood pressure issues, medications, maybe arthritis, maybe neuropathy. The bedtime drink has to respect the whole person. Let me tell you about Louise, 83, hailed from Washington, D.C., because her story changed how her entire family thought about hydration. Louise had heard that dark urine meant dehydration, so she became obsessed with making her urine completely clear. She drank all day, then drank heavily again before sleep because she feared her kidneys would dry out at night. She was up 4 times, then 5. One night she got dizzy, grabbed the dresser, and nearly collapsed. Thankfully, she wasn't badly injured. But here's the heartbreaking part. She had been trying to protect herself. Nobody had ever told her that more is not always better. More can become another form of harm. So now we've arrived at the central question. If detox teas are risky, sugary drinks are misleading, alcohol dehydrates, caffeine disturbs the bladder, sports drinks are often unnecessary, and huge amounts of water right before bed can wreck sleep, then what is the best bedtime drink for kidney health after age 70? Are you ready? Here it is. The best bedtime drink for most adults between 70 and 85 is a small amount of plain water. Nothing added, nothing sweetened, nothing caffeinated, nothing alcoholic, and not a giant last-minute chug. Just plain water, taken with restraint and common sense. I know, it sounds almost too ordinary, but this is exactly why it matters. Plain water gives the body what it needs without forcing the kidneys to process sugar, alcohol, stimulants, or unnecessary additives. It helps support blood flow. It helps the body remove waste properly. It doesn't ask your kidneys to decode a label. It doesn't quietly push blood pressure upward the way sugary or sodium-heavy drinks can. It doesn't irritate the bladder the way caffeine often does. And unlike trendy drinks, it is not trying to impress you. It is simply doing the job your kidneys understand best. But here is the part most people miss, and this is what separates safe kidney hydration from nighttime misery. The best bedtime drink is not plain water in any amount at any time. It is plain water in the right amount at the right point in the evening for the right person. That means no giant bottle on the nightstand that you keep guzzling through the evening. No competitive hydration right before you brush your teeth. No panicked, I forgot to drink today, catch-up session at 10:45 p.m. Healthy hydration is built through the whole day, not crammed into the last 15 minutes before bed. Think of your kidneys like expert managers. They like steady workflow. They do not like midnight emergencies. If you've barely had fluids all day and then dump a flood of water into your body at bedtime, your kidneys still have to deal with it. Your bladder still has to hold it. Your sleep still gets interrupted by it. A small glass of plain water earlier in the bedtime routine is very different from a massive tumbler swallowed right before lights out. One supports balance, the other creates chaos. Timing is not a minor detail here. Timing is the difference between support and sabotage. And now I need to say something critically important because this could protect the viewers who are medically more fragile. If you have advanced chronic kidney disease, kidney failure, you're on dialysis, you have significant swelling, serious heart problems, or your doctor has specifically told you to limit fluids, then your best bedtime drink is not automatically more water. It is the amount your healthcare team says is safe for you. That is not a technical footnote. That is the rule. Some seniors watching me tonight need more awareness about dehydration. Others need protection from fluid overload. Those are very different situations. This is where so many families get confused because they assume every health tip must apply to everybody. It doesn't. One senior needs encouragement to drink enough during the day because they barely feel thirst anymore. Another senior needs to be careful because their kidneys are no longer clearing fluid effectively. One person's glass of water is another person's swollen ankles and shortness of breath. So if you've ever been told to watch your fluids, please don't turn a general kidney tip into a personal medical mistake. The kidneys demand respect for individual limits. Now let's make this practical, because knowing the best drink is only helpful if you know how to use that information tonight. Here is the ideal pattern for most older adults with no fluid restriction. Hydrate well during the day. Choose plain water as your main drink. With dinner, drink normally, not excessively. As the evening moves on, taper rather than flood. If you like a bedtime drink, make it a small glass of plain water, not a sugary, caffeinated, alcoholic, or heavily flavored drink. Then use the bathroom before getting into bed. That pattern supports hydration without provoking as much nighttime disruption. If you tend to wake repeatedly to urinate, your problem may not be not enough water. It may be poor timing, bladder irritation, caffeine, alcohol, or simply too much fluid late in the evening. This is why some seniors keep solving the wrong problem. They are thirsty in the morning, so they assume they need even more bedtime fluid. But the thirst may be coming from alcohol, caffeine, mouth breathing, medications, salt, or sleep disruption itself. If you treat every symptom with more nighttime drinking, you can get trapped in a cycle that never ends. Let me tell you about Walter, 77, because his story ties this together beautifully. Walter thought his kidneys were failing because he woke up thirsty every night, so he kept a large insulated bottle by the bed and drank from it every time he woke. That made him urinate more, which woke him again, which made him drink more, which sent him back to the bathroom. It became a loop. When we looked at his routine, the real problem wasn't kidney failure. It was too salty evening snacks, late coffee, and habit. Once he fixed those and switched to a smaller amount of plain water earlier in the evening, the cycle broke. Now, there's another truth seniors need to hear, because it gets ignored far too often. As we age, our sense of thirst can become less reliable. That means some older adults truly do underdrink. Their urine gets dark. They feel weak. They become constipated. They develop urinary issues, dizziness, or recurrent infections. For those individuals, the answer is not avoiding fluid out of fear of nighttime urination. The answer is smarter hydration earlier in the day so the body arrives at bedtime already balanced, instead of desperately trying to catch up at the last moment. Bedtime should not be where hydration begins. It should be where hydration gently finishes. And this brings us to a myth I want to destroy tonight. The myth that healthy urine must always be perfectly clear. No, completely colorless urine is not a trophy. Your goal is not to turn your bladder into a faucet. For many people, a pale straw color suggests better balance than a non-stop crystal clear flood created by anxiety drinking. Your kidneys are not grading you on drama. They are responding to steadiness. If you spend the whole day chasing clear urine and the whole night chasing the bathroom, you may be worshiping the wrong sign while ignoring the bigger picture. Now, before we finish, I need to tell you the 4 words that should guide every bedtime drink decision after age 70. Simple, moderate, early, individualized. Simple means plain water wins over complicated beverages. Moderate means a small amount, not a massive gulp. Early means don't wait until the final moment before sleep to drown yourself. Individualized means your kidneys, heart, medications, swelling, bladder, and medical history matter. One rule cannot cover every person. If you remember only those 4 words from tonight, you will avoid most of the bedtime hydration mistakes that quietly harm older adults. Let me give you the red flags, because if these are happening, your bedtime drink routine deserves another look. Waking multiple times every night to urinate. Morning dizziness. Dry mouth after alcohol or late caffeine. Swelling in the legs. Dark urine from underdrinking through the day. Needing to catch up with fluids at night. Rising blood pressure. Restless sleep. Recurrent urinary discomfort. None of those signs automatically mean kidney disease, but they do mean the current system is not working well. And what most people need at that moment is not a miracle beverage. It is a smarter routine. Here's the gold standard evening approach I want you to picture, because this is where everything becomes clear. Throughout the day, sip water regularly. Don't wait for severe thirst. Keep sugary drinks occasional, not routine. Be careful with dark sodas, energy drinks, and highly processed beverages. Limit alcohol, especially late. Avoid caffeine in the evening if nighttime urination is a problem. After dinner, begin tapering your fluids instead of escalating them. If you want a bedtime drink, choose a small glass of plain water. Then empty your bladder before sleep, and let your body rest instead of work overtime. And please understand the emotional side of this, because it matters. Many seniors are frightened of kidney disease because they've seen what it did to a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a friend, dialysis, fatigue, swelling, restrictions, dependence. So when they hear that a drink might protect them, they cling to it. I understand that. I really do. But fear makes people vulnerable to bad advice. It makes them believe that the more extreme the habit, the more protective it must be. And with kidney health, that is often backwards. Protection usually looks boring, quiet, consistent, unflashy. That is where real power lives. That's why tonight's answer matters so much. Not because plain water is glamorous, but because it is dependable. It supports the body without overstimulating it. It hydrates without dressing itself up as a cure. It helps the kidneys do what they were designed to do instead of pushing them into some theatrical overnight cleanse. And when taken wisely, not too much, not too late, not against your doctor's advice, it becomes the safest, simplest, and most kidney-friendly bedtime drink for most people in this age group. That simplicity is not weakness. That simplicity is precision. Before I finish, let me tell you about Helen, 82, because her story brings the entire lesson home. Helen rotated bedtime drinks constantly. 1 week chamomile detox tea, next week cranberry cocktail, then warm milk with sweet syrup, then flavored electrolyte powder, then giant glasses of water because she was scared she'd damage her kidneys overnight. Her nights were miserable. Bathroom trips, bloating, poor sleep, morning fatigue. Her daughter finally helped her strip the whole thing down. They simplified everything. More steady water in the daytime, less late evening drinking, one small plain glass of water if she wanted it. That was it. Within days, her nights were calmer. Within weeks, she felt like herself again. So what should you remember after this video ends tonight? Remember this: your kidneys do not want hype. They do not want sugar dressed as wellness. They do not want alcohol disguised as relaxation. They do not want caffeine pretending to be comfort. They do not want mystery teas claiming to detox the very organs already built to detox you. For most seniors, they want enough hydration, not excess hydration. They want stability, not extremes. And the best bedtime drink for better kidney health is usually the one least likely to deceive you. A modest amount of plain water taken wisely with respect for your personal medical limits. If this helped you, subscribe to the channel and share this with someone over 70 who keeps a drink by the bed every night. Because one small change in an evening routine can protect sleep, protect blood pressure, and protect the kidneys more than most people ever imagine. Your body does a tremendous amount of work for you every single day. The least we can do is stop making that work harder at night. Take care of your kidneys, respect simplicity, and I'll see you in the next video.